Welcome back, everyone, to the Brain Soul Success Show, where we take back our power. I am here with my good friend, Erin Duffy, and I'm really excited to introduce Erin to all of you. She's a very powerful career transformation and stage presence coach. She works with mid-career business professionals and leaders who struggle feeling fulfilled and confident and want to step into their personal power and advance their career. She believes your own stories, and Erin's worked with me on my stories, you guys. She's really good at this. Hold their very insights that can transform our lives. In her highly curated programs, her clients develop a richer personal narrative, clarifying their stories behind their life experiences. Then she helps them to use their personal power of their story to catapult their career journey. It is tapping into the same stories that also supercharges their personal brand and, of course, their stage presence. So you had dual careers. You were doing lots of things. For 25 years, you managed dual careers. You were a senior executive as a creative agency by day and a singer actor by night. So when you talk about stage presence, this is the woman. She knows how to walk you through that. She just walked me through my lighting, you guys. Okay, like my lighting is better in here. And so she yearned to combine sort of both of these together. So out of that journey and her search and her own discovery, she found an insightful way to blend both of those careers and to one big transformational, amazing program in her company, Inspiration Squared. She's got great programs on how to change your life. I'll let her tell you about that and her stage presence stories. I know that you love and are passionate about your clients just like I am, and you
Yes.
really have such good questions, and you're really awesome as walking people through this. Erin, I'm just so excited to chat with you today.
Thank you, Louise. It's always good to chat with you. We always have such great conversations together. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we do. And I just love all the things that you're doing. Erin's also been a part of some of our events. Again, she had this beautiful, amazing evening career that got blended into what she's doing now, where she was in theater and has a beautiful voice singing too. So multi-talented, again, so excited to be with you. And so that's your story of how you blended things. Any other, pieces of wisdom on that for even our other entrepreneurs here of how they could be using their story to catapult their business forward.
Yes. It really was through diving deep into my own story is what helped me create Inspiration Squared and create my own entrepreneurial journey because as you know, Louise, I mean, I was in corporate for a good 25 plus years.
Yes.
And even when I left my company, my intent was to find another position at another company. But prior to doing that, I had this, what I call my white space, so this nice runway where I had time to think about what I wanted next. And what I did is I remember hearing my own inner voice saying, gosh, I really wish I could merge my two careers together. I really enjoyed both of them and it was fun. And like I said, I did it, as you were just reading, I did it for over 25 years, but it really hit a point in my career where in both realms, they weren't as exciting anymore. They weren't as fulfilling. It just seemed like there was more to it than that. And not that I was bored performing. God knows, get me on stage. I love to sing. I love to act. I love to put shows together. But it was not that. It was, oh, there has to be more here. And the same in my business world. The business world for me was changing. And I thought, I wish I could merge these two together. And so, Louise, it was through me doing that deeper dive in asking myself that question, especially during that white space and asking, what is it, Erin? What is it that excites you? What is it that makes you just jump out of bed in the morning? And what is it that what is it that you do that fulfills not only me, but also makes me feel like I am making a difference? And that was really important to me. And what's funny, Louise, is I hear that very similar message coming from many of my clients, and again, all of them in that mid-career
Mhm.
time where they have hit that point of success. They have hit that moment where they've had this tremendous career, but they're searching for more.
Sure.
And it was through delving into my own story, really being led by, I wish I could merge these two careers together,
Mhm.
that sort of set me on this course of, well, what does that really mean? And then doing deeper dives into my own story and discovering what was the essence of that statement I was saying to myself, merging these two careers together. What does that mean? And I
Mm.
remember one day working with my business coach at that point, saying to her, I know if I could help business professionals find and own their unique voice, they will have no competition. And
Oh,
it was
that's
through
great.
that little line, which, by the way,
Mhm.
comes from my performing career, where as a cabaret singer, I had heard that statement specifically for cabaret performers. When you show up on a
Ah,
stage 100% yourself, you have no competition. And when I realized, taking the crux of that and realizing, gosh darn, if business professionals could own their voice, they have no
yes.
competition. They no longer have to compare themselves and stuff. And that, Louise, is what set me on the course of creating my company. Again, it was just a statement, right? It was just an idea, but I knew it because I knew in my corporate career that
Mhm.
when I truly, in those times when I walked into the room, whether I was addressing my own team or I was addressing my clients, I was addressing like the C-suite of my clients. It was the times when I was no longer comparing myself or no longer thinking, oh, I don't have a seat at this table, or I'm not smart enough to be in this room. Those
Sure.
those little texts, right, that run through our
Yes.
head. When I
Yes.
started to ignore that and realize, no, Erin, go in that room and be yourself and show up and be 100% yourself, which I'm pulling from my performing career, right? But when I
Uh-huh.
did that in my business career, that's when I made the biggest difference.
Oh, and that
Biggest
makes so much
difference.
sense, Erin. And your questions
Absolutely.
that you asked yourself, I think, are such good questions you're proposing here for our audience here, our listeners, to ask themselves, especially if they're in that transition place, right?
Yes.
To ask yourself
Mhm.
those really good questions so that you can be more succinct and get down to the bottom line of what you're really passionate about and what you want to do and what
Right.
that's going to look like in your life.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
it's what's interesting is that one question I said earlier about, as you're thinking through, especially as entrepreneurs, and you're trying to decide what you want to do, or maybe you have already created your business, but now you're at a point where it's evolving, because you and I
Mhm.
both know, Louise, our
Yes.
businesses have
Yes.
evolved. They're continually evolving.
Mm.
I always say, very simple thing that you can do as a as your own personal brand, as your
Mhm.
own personal presence, and what you're building is, one of the simple things is, ask yourself, what are the 5 things that excite you? And when I say that, I'm not talking
Yes.
about in business, I'm talking everything, personal,
Yeah.
business, everything. What are those 5 things that drive you? What are those 5 things that just get you so excited? And when you look at that, then I always tell people, now then tell me why. Write the story. Why?
Why
What
did
is
it
the
get you?
why of that? What is the story behind that? And then on the other side, what are the 5 things that don't excite you? What are the 5 things that take the air out of the room for you? What are the 5 things that you just never want to ever do again?
Hmm.
And get the clarity of those. Because let me tell you, there is such clarity in
Yes.
seeing both sides. Because when you identify those 5 things that you really don't like, and you become very clear as to the why and the story behind it, you suddenly close the chapter on those 5 things. You suddenly have the power to say, no, I don't want that anymore. And you get to
Hmm.
put all the focus now on the things that really do excite you, the things that really do drive you, and you get to focus and build from there. And it's a powerful step. I mean, it's a simple
Hmm.
step when you think about it. Does it take a little time? Absolutely. But anything worth itself takes time.
Takes time. Those are great questions, Erin.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
those. And I love, I always do give people the 5 things that give you joy and excitement in your life. But I like that flip side. You're right, absolutely right, of what you
Yeah.
don't,
Yes.
resonate with. So you can put that over here,
Yeah, you can.
and
And I
release
always say
that.
you can shut the chapter on them.
Yes.
You can even say thank you for how you've served me through the years, but I'm done with you now. And you can turn the page and let them go. And
Mhm.
it's really powerful. But here's the interesting thing, Louise, many of us don't have that kind of clarity. We may think about it sometimes, God, I
Yes.
hate doing whatever,
Mhm.
but we give it too much power. It still sits there, it still simmers. But if
Mhm.
we look at it really clearly, identify it, and say, yes, I don't want to ever do that again, or I just don't want to be part of that anymore. And we
Mhm.
say, thank you, goodbye. You've done that. You've taken the power. And it's a very empowering step to
Yes.
letting you build the business or the career that you desire.
Absolutely. And that's a very, I mean, I can think about places in my life where I, took an action step like that and said no more, even when I've had to let go of
Yeah.
like a team member or something. It's like we're closing the door. It's just not a fit anymore. It's good. I love you, you know.
Yes.
But it's just time for, our paths aren't meshing anymore. And we're growing in different ways, and that's okay. So
Yes.
but that there's an empowered kind of feeling when you do that.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I love yeah, I
yeah.
love that you said that because that's also a really good lesson. Like if you had told me 5 years ago, Erin, this is what you would be doing now, having 2 solid programs, a career transformation program and a stage presence program,
Yes.
I would go, what are you talking about, Louise?
Right.
And it's that idea as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is allowing yourself to be incredibly aware of what's going on and how you're feeling and where you see your business going, and also realizing that you may have to let go of things and say goodbye to things to
Yes.
evolve. And once you hold that and once you realize and then let that sink in, it allows you to be the CEO of your company in a way
Mhm.
that honestly, I didn't realize it. I didn't understand how important that lesson was, Louise, until I was in it.
Until
It's
you're in it. And that's so true of all of our
yeah.
lessons. If you're listening, you own a business here, you're just getting started owning a business. These are such great questions for you to get clarity and ask yourself these questions that Erin is proposing here. Because that you will, when you have the clarity, it's like the GPS in your car. If you get in your car and you want to go somewhere, but your GPS isn't working and you don't even know where you want to go and you don't put it in there, you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
have to have the clarity. You've got to have the address. You got to know where you're going.
Yes.
So the
Yeah.
very first step is getting that clarity. And again, I
Yes.
loved your journey, how you described how you got there,
Yeah.
and really
Yeah.
blended all those things that you loved, and you were
Yeah.
talented at and good at and created, inspiration squared.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that was a scary leap for you. What do you think has helped you become, because you're incredibly successful, what helped you become successful besides that journey of asking those good questions and your story?
You know, I would say the first thing that comes to mind
Hmm.
for me was from day one when I made this decision, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to like build a
Uh-huh.
company versus go
Yes.
find a job, immediately I surrounded myself with other people. So when I made that decision, Louise, I was already in a business mastermind of
Mhm.
other women who were thinking about starting their own company. And
Okay.
so that I was so grateful for that, because from that moment on, I have made sure and I continue to be in masterminds, in network organizations,
Mhm.
and connect with other like minded people doing the same thing. Because as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, it can be isolating.
Yes.
It
Uh-huh.
truly can, because you're doing this all yourself, until you're able to like maybe have a team member. But this day and age, most team members are not even sitting next to you. Most of them are virtual these days.
Yeah.
So it can
Huh.
be very isolating. And also, there's so much to learn. And the best way to learn it is to learn it from other people doing the same thing. So, in fact, this is how Louise and I met. Just FYI, audience, we met
Yeah, we met at a
in,
business mastermind and and
I'm
wow,
so
that was
grateful for that.
awesome. I'm completely grateful for that. I learned so much. I
Absolutely.
learn every day.
Every single day. And
Every single day I learn something new.
also you have people to reach out to, right? I mean, don't you remember, like, we all knew each
Yeah.
other in this mastermind, and we not only had our coach, but it was like we had this incredible group of people that I knew I could reach out to. And remember, my business started with an idea. I didn't have anything. It started with an idea. And there were many times when I thought, what are you doing, Erin? Like, what are you, but I had the power of these incredible people around me who had done this. They had started, they might be in business now 2-3 years when I'm starting, and looking at them and realizing all these people started just like you did, Erin, with an idea. And guys, that's what kept me going. That is exactly when I was able to be surrounded by people like Louise in a room and talk about like Louise and all these other people so supportive. No, don't give it up. No, here, let me show you how you can do this. Or, oh, what a great idea. I have a best practice I can share with you. When you're able to surround yourself with people like that, that's your team. Those are the people that are rooting for you, and that you're not alone, because
Right.
being an entrepreneur, you sometimes can feel like you're alone.
Yes, and you do need that. I mean,
You do.
we really do need that. That really did
Yeah.
help me a lot. And I continue to join masterminds so I can
Me
connect with
too.
new people and grow all the time and grow the
Yeah.
next piece of what I'm really creating and doing here. I too, like you, Erin, was like, wow. I started my business in my house. I had a biofeedback device. I was in naturopathic school. I finished that. I started seeing my dyslexic students first as clients, and then they brought their mothers and their grandmothers. It just kind of grew, and then I ended up like in an office, and then bought an. I mean, how did that happen?
Right.
So the characteristic for me, for you, it started with an idea. For me, it started with passion.
Right.
Like I
Right.
was just completely passionate about serving people and figuring
Right.
out how I could help them,
Yeah.
be super healthy and
Yeah.
be, who they wanted to be in the world.
Yeah.
So what are some of the characteristics or values do you think are important to
Well,
really drive a business forward? Where, there's a lot of amazing coaches out there who are brand new starting a business,
yeah,
and they're either going to succeed or they're going to drop it. Not all
exactly.
businesses succeed, so we have to sort of talk about that too. We're here, we're positive, we're rooting for all of you, but
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's easy. So
Yeah.
what are some of the techniques, or not techniques, I want to say characteristics? Like mine was passion, yours was
Yeah.
inspiration.
It was inspiration. And
Yeah.
I think you and I have hit on two major things. Okay. I think you have to be extremely passionate about what you're doing,
Hmm.
because there are a million people out there doing the same thing. So
Hmm.
I think you have to be passionate about what your business is about and how you want to serve your clients.
Hmm.
And you just have to fall in love with your business, because like Louise just said, it's hard. It
Hmm.
is hard. Like I always tell people, this is the hardest thing I've probably ever done, but it's probably been the best thing I've ever done. Like I'm like,
Yes.
I should have done it earlier. I mean, it's just, but again, it's hard. It's the hills and the valleys, right? Louise, like you have the good
Right.
times, the bad times. And it's like, but it's that passion and that inspiration that you have to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us have built our businesses based on the fact that we know we have something to share with the world that nobody else can. And I
Absolutely.
think that's the other piece,
Hmm.
which is part of my practice as well, that whole personal presence and personal brand piece, that really does come down to you truly believing that you are the only person out there showing up the way you're showing up. And I tell that to my clients all the time. There
Hmm.
might be,
Hmm.
let's like pick, I don't know, marketing, digital marketing experts, right? Starting
Okay.
their own agency. There are tens of thousands of them out there.
Yes.
What makes you different?
Yeah, it's a good
What
question.
makes you bubble up to the top so suddenly you're above the competition? And what that comes down to is you understanding what you uniquely offer. And part of that is not just the services, it's
Mhm.
about you. It's about understanding
Yes.
you. And that's you, your story, and what makes you different. What, when you show up in a room and another marketing professional shows up in the room and you're both have digital marketing companies,
Mhm.
what is it about you that's going to stand out? It's going to be you. And knowing your personal presence and your brand and understanding that and being comfortable and confident in it. And you show up in a room and you light up a room
Yeah.
because everybody knows that, oh wow, I have to get to know her. Oh my God, look at her. I mean, I love what she has to offer because it's you they're attracted to. And then you're,
Right.
and that to me is key in your business as an entrepreneur, is being
Yes.
very clear and then comfortable and confident in who you are
Mhm.
in the marketplace and bringing
That's
that
so
every
beautifully
single time.
said. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. That's so beautifully said. Because you know what I found that almost kind of shocked me, really? It was, I mean, all the business classes are important. The networking is important, all that's important. But it wasn't until I started taking, entrepreneurs who had like plateaued maybe in their business and started really
Mhm.
releasing any of those
Mhm.
blocks that were in the way of them being super confident and
Mhm.
knowing themselves. I call it being 100% your soul's truth.
Yes.
When that was done, when those pieces were done using like my brain system, is when they elevated more.
Yeah.
Or they'll tell me
Absolutely.
right after that session, I just made $8,000. They'll
Yeah.
they'll tell me that. So
Yeah.
what I know is what you're saying is so, so, so important. So it is about showing up totally passionate in your confidence, really knowing who you are and how you're different and
Yeah.
getting it out there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then on
Yes.
this journey, there's hills and valleys, right? We go through great times and our business is really thriving, and other times it's
Yeah.
kind of low. And there's always those transition places too.
Yes. Yes.
Where have you had some, challenges or bumps in your business or life that's really sort of affected your brain power? I like the brain. How did it affect
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's one thing that's somewhat even though we know there's going to be hills and valleys, what you can't plan on is when those hills and valleys happen.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Uh,
really can't. And, I would say this past year for me was one of those moments where honestly, we started 23 on a big high, honestly, huge high. We're ready. The 23 was going to be this extraordinary year because everything was in place. It was in place.
Mhm.
But, then in my personal life, our family had, a situation where there was an illness suddenly that affected, one very important person in our family. And it really
Mhm.
knocked the wind out of my sails, Louise,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm. I
and
remember. Yeah.
unexpected. And it ended up making a very different year for me. It was a year where I was trying to figure out, why am I doing this? What, it seemed like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's sort of this, oh, does this matter? When you're
Oh,
facing something, you suddenly
uh-huh.
realize, like, wait,
Yes.
and yet, Louise, now that I'm on the other side of that, 23 ended up being one of the most extraordinary years. And I would
Awesome.
not say a revenue year, right? It was a flat year,
Uh-huh.
which is not what we expected. But then the growth in my own self and understanding how important my work is and how important it is that I do what I do, because we don't know how much time we have.
Right. Yes, that's so
Suddenly
true.
time matters, and time always has mattered, but suddenly it became very clear that, huh, I might be running out of time. And putting and realizing that me doing the work I do is really, really important to me. And how I help and transform others is really, really important to me and to others.
Mm-hmm.
And realize that this is a gift that whatever time we have, this is what I
Mm-hmm.
love to do. This is what's fun for me to do. And it makes me the best person I am in my professional life and my personal life. And it's almost like I had to find a new, more, I don't know, more genuine understanding of why I do the work I do.
Oh, it was a
Um,
deeper questioning, it sounds like
yes,
just
it really
a
was.
level, like different level of that for you.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
did affect your brain power. You were kind
Oh,
of,
yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, grief is a huge thing. I mean,
yeah, it
it's a
is.
powerful, powerful thing. We as humans sometimes avoid it. I tend not to be the one to avoid things, but I feel, and it's amazing the feel of like, well, what is this? What is this going on? And realizing it's grief and then having to deal with grief and how powerful, FYI, how
Hmm.
powerful it is when you do turn your mind to your grief, how when you're on the other side,
Hmm.
how much more clear life looks when you're on the other side of grief because you've allowed yourself to go into
To go through it.
grief.
Yeah, yeah, we don't want to squish those kind of emotions
No,
down. You know,
no,
we certainly
no.
can help. I know the tools that I have, the brain soul hack stuff I do helps.
It
A lot of
helps.
people move through it,
Yeah.
but they have to feel it and you've got to move through it.
You got to feel, you got to move through it. Many people,
Yeah.
as you know, Louise, because you deal with this all the time, lots
Yes.
of people want to squash it because it's pain. It feels painful, but it's actually, it's hard. But the gifts on the other side
Hmm.
were way beyond what I expected, to be honest with
That's
you. The
really
clarity.
beautiful.
Yeah, there's clarity.
Congratulations on being
Thank
on
you.
the other side of
Yeah,
that. Good work,
yeah,
Erin.
yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
absolutely. You did
But
some
I will
really,
say, Louise, I mean, through that, I will, and I'll be honest with everybody here, is that there was a moment that I was like, do I just shut my business down? I did have that in August that, and
huh?
I love my business coach, who said that's good. You got to ask that question.
That's
We
good.
all have to ask that question, and it
Yes.
was good, even though I knew in my heart that's not what
Uh-huh.
I was going to do. But I had to ask the question because I had to look at that to then see, wait, but what would you
Mhm.
be giving up? Like, and that's a powerful question to ask yourself. What
It
if I
is a
shut this
very,
down?
yeah, because
Yeah.
you do have to like look at where you're spending your time, your
Yes.
energy, and especially as people get older and they've been seasoned and they've been working in their business. There's people who start different businesses when they're still
Yeah.
passionate about the
Yeah.
business, and doing work.
Yep.
So we've seen that too in places of transition. I have learned that those places of transition are the places of the most growth.
Couldn't agree with you more.
And I
Couldn't
love,
agree with
and
you
now I
more.
don't get
Yeah.
scared about it anymore,
No.
or judgment or whatever you want to
No.
call it about those times. Now I just kind of sit with it and I go, oh, this is another transition place.
Here we go again.
Oh, here
Yeah.
we go again. I don't think I like it, but I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
a trust factor that comes in. I know I'm gonna trust that when I move through that, whether it's grief or anything,
Yeah.
we get to the other side of it. And
Yeah.
so
And you
those
will.
questioning and those hills and valleys are very important for your personal growth.
Yeah.
Um, when lived in Taos, we used to climb this mountain. We called it Success Mountain with my kids. And I was teaching them that, life is not just about getting to the top. Like it doesn't always go up, 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 up. Like hopefully you do that in your career, your business, that you're always successful, but it doesn't go like that.
Right.
It
Just
does
this.
hills and valleys,
Exactly.
to
It's
get to the
life. Yeah.
to get to the top. And that's in
Yeah.
life and that's in business as well. And it's
Yeah.
really the techniques and tools that we use when we're in that transition place.
Absolutely. And I think one of them, and I know we said this earlier, but I can't encourage people more. It's really important that you surround yourself with people, with other
Yes.
people, and don't feel guarded or ashamed that you've hit a hard point.
Mhm.
Share it out because you will be amazed how there will be so many people that are going to be there to support you, to guide you, to offer you, support, best practices. Share it out, because you'd be amazed the feedback you'll get back and the support you'll get back. And suddenly, when you don't feel alone, and two, you can see possibility again.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Absolutely. I'm going to turn the conversation a little bit here just because people are curious, when they see someone amazingly successful like you, they want to know, how you stay in that up place. Like, how do you really take care of yourself? So what are some self-care tips that Erin does to keep your body healthy, get enough sleep, all those kind of things? Give us some wisdom there. What do you do?
Well, I think that's also a great question, and something all of us need to remember and build a practice. That it's really easy, especially as a business owner, that you could just be sitting here all day, work, 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 work. I know quite a few entrepreneurs like that, right? By the way, who haven't had a vacation in 5 years, barely
Uh-huh.
take time off. You can't get them to go to dinner, and it's like they're work, work, work. And that actually is not good for your health
Mhm.
at
Uh-huh.
all. So I think it's like you said, I'm really good about sleep. Like sleep, if Erin doesn't
Awesome.
get her 7 to 8 hours, it's not a good thing, because you can see it in my skin. You can see it. It's just like I've always needed sleep. I've
Uh-huh.
always done sleep. Even in college, I got my 8 hours because I needed sleep. So that's a key. And
Okay.
any doctor and any physician will tell you sleep's number one. Get yourself some sleep, because we're repairing our bodies, right?
Right.
Exercise is the other thing. I mean,
Okay.
I do the workout. I'm like you, Louise. I'm always out, either working out at the club or I'm on my bike or something, but I have to get out. A lot of times too,
Hmm.
for me, walking is really good. And music is inspiring to me. I mean, I was a singer actor, so obviously I love music. But I love having like playing really great tunes and going on a walk, because it's amazing how my creative juices just start
Oh,
to go.
nice.
And it may not
Uh-huh.
even be creative juices about my business, but my creative juices are going and my mind expands. Very important. And one of the other things I do when I'm sitting here working on something, this is just something I need. I have to be surrounded by music when I'm working on something, but it's
Ah.
not music with words. So I listen to a lot of movie scores, film
Oh,
scores.
I love that. That's
Yes,
awesome.
because and by the way, I did this in college, even when I was like writing scripts, because I was a TV film major.
Uh-huh.
I would have my music on, because it's inspiring to me, and it opens up my creative juices. It allows me to think of things I might not have thought about if I don't have the music on. So that's a really good way I take care of myself, because I know
That's so
to
you.
calm my brain, put my film scores on. I'm a happy girl.
I love that. That's absolutely so you. So that's an
Yeah.
amazing, amazing brain tip. Well,
Yeah.
this has been awesome. Again, I love being with you. We could talk for like 3 hours, I think. I mean,
We could.
we really literally could. Uh, what? I know you've got a free gift here for everyone, with all the amazing classes and things that you've created. Share with everyone here what you have for us.
Yeah, so as you can hear, one of my areas of expertise and place that I love, because I truly believe every business owner, business leader, entrepreneur needs to show up in their personal brand and bring their presence to the room. And when I say the room, I'm talking every room, whether it's like
Mhm.
one-on-one with Louise like this, or you're in
Mhm.
a huge speaking on stage, are you bringing your unique presence? And many entrepreneurs, business owners, are uncomfortable being the face of their business. They're
Mhm.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
knowing how to be their authentic self. So if that sounds like you, and you really kind of would love to supercharge that and really understand your personal presence, I love to offer you what I call supercharge your stage presence session. And these are a $300 value, but for everybody listening here, I'm going to, Louise is going to put the link here. So
Yes.
go ahead
Okay.
and click on it. But what we'll do in this 30 minutes is we're going to uncover the number one thing that's holding you back, and we're going to solve that and get you on the road to really owning your presence. So if that sounds like you
Oh,
and you're just dying, I'd love to meet you and help you to get through that.
Oh, love it. That is such a generous gift. And I gotta tell you, I've worked with Erin. She has really helped me with my story, helped me nail some things, get clear about things. And she's really awesome with that.
Thank you,
So you
Louise.
do want to take advantage of that. So we'll post the link below for you all. Erin, again, it's such delight to be with you.
You too. Thanks,
I'm
Louise,
always
as always.
inspired. Maybe that's why your company's Inspiration Squared. How I'm
Inspiration
always
squared.
inspired when I'm with you.
Yeah. Well,
How
thank you. That's
cool
my
is
goal.
that?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it's so awesome. Well, everyone, again, thanks for being with us today. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. And let us know, give us some comments here about if you love this, let us know. We would love to hear from you. So again, everyone, remember, follow your heart, but take your brain with you.